So, good afternoon, everyone. I hope you can all hear me. You're very welcome to the Railway Challenge 2020 Awards Ceremony. My name is Simon Ivnitsky. I'm the chair of the organising committee. I'm sorry that we're not here all together at the wonderful Stapleford Miniature Railway this year. Obviously, that's very disappointing to all of us. Well, you all understand the reasons why. When the lockdown came, we did think about it, and people said, well, it's open air, it's lots of young people, what could the problem be? But I think we took the right decision, and obviously, as things panned out, we had no other option. But all the teams have been working extremely hard, and I'm delighted that we're here together today, and we'll be able to share a virtual presentation with them and present some of the awards, not all. When we were all together at the railway in February for our open event, when we looked around the railway, we had almost the opposite of social distancing then. If you remember, we were crammed into the station building and all excitedly looking at the railway and preparing for the event. So congratulations to all the teams anyway for what they've achieved under the circumstances. The railway division of the Institution of Mechanical Engineers, which instigated this event, is very proud of the Railway Challenge. It's now in its 9th year. It's grown from small numbers, and now we're only limited really by the capacity of the railway itself. We had 15 entries this year, and it would have been fantastic to be there with 15 teams working. We do have plans in place for addressing those capacity challenges, and in a couple of years' time, we hope that we will be able to have many more teams. The Railway Challenge was introduced to show young people in universities and colleges and industry how interesting and challenging and fun careers in the railway are. And I think over the 9 years, it's really achieved that. Over 1,000 people have participated and have learned a lot about the interesting challenges that they face and the teamwork that a career in railways offer them. I'm delighted also that we're becoming more and more international. As an example of that, our current champions who won last year are Fachhochschule Aachen, so congratulations to them. Okay, so I'm going to hand over now to the president of the Institution of Mechanical Engineers, Terry Spall, who will give us a keynote address. Terry.
So thank you, Simon, for your introduction. Very good afternoon to you all. Well, last month I became the 135th president of the Institution of Mechanical Engineers. And for me, like the 134 who went before me, it's really a great honour, and to be honest, one of the highlights of the role to be asked to join an awards event such as this, which really recognises engineering excellence and promotes competitive challenge and team spirit and all the other good things. So the Railway Division is one of 4 challenges run by the institution. So it's alongside the Unmanned Aerial Systems Challenge, the Design Challenge, and also the Apprentice Automation Challenge. And they all kind of follow in the footsteps of the institution's highly successful and long-running Formula Student Competition, which started 20 years ago. And some of you know I've been very, very involved in that, so I'm very familiar with the way the challenges work and how they actually deliver such great results for everybody who gets involved with it. As Simon mentioned, the Railway Division is now in its 9th year, and it's on a really strong growth trajectory, and that's fantastic to see. It is becoming more and more international, and that's even better. For the team members, I think the experience is, I could best describe it as an emotional roller coaster, and certainly something they'll always remember, and for sure something that will be referenced as a significant element of their formation as an engineer as they progress their careers. Employers will fight to employ them. There's no doubt about that. I've seen it many, many times. But why is that? Well, I think it's because the competition simply produces the very best engineers. It takes academically qualified young people and turns them into absolute engineering practitioners, ready to hit the floor running and contribute from day one to the organisations that employ them. And I think that's because they've developed significant and relevant skills through their experience on the challenge. So they'll learn to work effectively as a team, to create their own organisational structure, their own leaderships. They'll learn how to manage a project and deliver within fixed timescales and budgetary guidelines, and also achieve regulatory compliance, which is really very important as well in the rail industry. The rules are deliberately designed to challenge the teams in terms of compliance, whilst also being open enough to encourage them to be innovative and be creative. It will certainly hone their ability to solve problems. They will develop skills to, well, effectively create from scratch an elegant, well, hopefully elegant and efficient engineering design solution to the problem, supported by the effective use of analytical modeling tools, and then to submit the whole lot to, to the scrutiny of the judges as they are challenged on their understanding of the engineering principles that sits behind their designs, and also, the rigor of their decision making along the way, the rationale that sits behind the decisions they make. They'll also develop skills in how to ensure intrinsic safe operation, which is critically important, and also deliver very good attribute performance as appropriate to rail vehicles. They will have developed skills to manufacture, to test, develop, and validate their design solutions. And on top of all that, they will have had to develop the ability to communicate and market their solutions, and develop the commercial skills to be able to reach out and attract sponsors to support both the finances of their team, and also to leverage technical expertise, and ultimately to develop a commercially sound business proposal. So having developed such a skill set, it's not too difficult to understand why these engineers, these young engineers who've been through the challenge, are so employable and go on to enjoy accelerated career paths. Without doubt, it is this that attracts the high caliber sponsors behind the competition, and we're eternally grateful for their participation, because without their participation, there would not be a railway challenge. For the team members, the challenge is an amazing experience, and as I've already mentioned, it can be an emotional rollercoaster with many highs and lows. In my many years as a Formula student, I've seen teams reduced to tears when everything's just gone south, the car's gone up in flames, and a whole year's worth of work has just disappeared. But conversely, enjoying the euphoria of success and the release of a year being tested to the very limits. Now, this year's been quite different. It has obviously been dogged by the coronavirus pandemic. It's affected all of us, and it's not been great for any of us, I would say. It would have been very easy of the organising team to just simply cancel the Railway Challenge for 2020, but I would like to express my sincere appreciation to them for not, for their tenacity, really, for not giving up and for carrying on and making something of it, really. I appreciate, from the perspectives of the teams, having set out on a journey where you expected to have a live competition where you could show and test against other teams. It's going to be quite disappointing, that the full competition couldn't go ahead. But I think, we all have a good understanding. I know that they will appreciate that really it was unavoidable, and the situation is what it is. But regardless, we really appreciate their willingness to participate in this full sort of virtual version of the competition. And I know I speak on behalf of all the teams, the sponsors, all the other stakeholders, and of course the institution, in expressing our sincere thanks to the organising team. It's a small bunch of people who've got together to deliver all this. There's a heck of a lot of work goes into making it happen. And really, they've shown great resolve to deliver a virtual competition with a true challenge spirit. So what else can I say? So enough from me. I'd like to thank all the teams for participating this year and for all their hard work and getting us where they've got to. And I wish them every success and the best of luck in the competition that we're going to see the results of very shortly. So like all of you, I'm looking forward now to hearing who the successful teams are in the virtual Railway Challenge 2020. And I'd like to hand back to Simon now to start the process of revealing the winners. Simon.
Okay, thank you very much, Terry, for those inspiring words. Thanks very much. So now the exciting moment. I'm going to hand over now to Bill Reeve. Bill is the Director of Rail at Transport Scotland, but more importantly, he's the head judge of the IMechE Railway Challenge. So Bill, if you could give us your experience first, and then we'll have the awards. Thank you.
Bill, you're muted.
Bill's speaking to us from Scotland, and we have had
Bill is muted at the moment. He needs to unmute. That's better.
I have unmuted. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can.
My apologies for that little glitch. I think we've all become a little familiar with the vagaries of various means of communication of late. Well, look, as head judge, it's an absolute privilege every year to meet the teams at Stapleford who bring their locomotives and subject them to the rigors of the trials in reality. So I'll be honest, I was disappointed that highlight of my calendar couldn't take place in the normal manner this year. But I have been, as I know the other judges have, impressed with the quality of what we have seen from the teams who have chosen to press on with the written and presentation elements of the business case challenge. I always find engaging with teams of young engineers addressing the realities of railway traction design, I find that an inspiration. And this year, none of the teams has failed to impress. So I am inspired by the commitment of the teams in these difficult circumstances and by their genuine innovation. Without fail, I've been impressed with the teamwork that the teams have presented as we've had a look at the results and the professionalism with which they've gone about their work. So I think what we really want to hear is the results, but the judges would like to thank all of the teams for the effort they put into this, and to say that we're very pleased to have been able to take part in this more limited manner in the judging to date. It's been a real pleasure. So I think it's now for me to hand over to Malcolm to give you the results from the design challenge.
Thank you, Bill. I hope everyone can hear me. The design challenge is one that requires a lot of work from the teams. They have to produce a report that is 10 pages, but with lots and lots of appendices. And generally, reports can exceed 100 pages of text and diagrams. The idea is that they demonstrate on paper that their design is good and is compliant with the rules and the specification. This is no different from what you would see if you were designing a complete new train, although the volume of paper is somewhat different. Design reports in the big railway are extensively reviewed by the customer, but before they're ever submitted to the customer, extensively reviewed by the supplier. It is at that point that people sometimes make the terrible discovery that what they thought they'd designed, or sometimes what the customer thought he'd asked for, were actually capable of misinterpretation. And people have to go back to the drawing board. But it's much better that it's done at the paper stage than it is once something's been built. We received 3 reports in this challenging year, and those reports were sometimes a little different from what we've seen previously, which I believe represented what the teams had managed to achieve before the coronavirus pandemic affected their work. And one team was really honest and explained in great detail how the pandemic had affected their work, and I have great sympathy for them in pursuing their work doggedly in order to get to this stage. But I think the time is now to reveal the winner this year. So pause for a drum roll, and Christina can advance a slide. That the winner is the University of Huddersfield team. Their report was highly professional and well up to the standard we've come to expect from Huddersfield, who've been in the competition right from the very beginning. They've always been in the top 3 for this particular challenge. It was readable and packed with relevant information. The calculations were exhaustive, and for me as an engineer that is more generalist than expert in calculations, they were very well explained. And in order to help me navigate through their report. The compliance matrix was comprehensive, which I always appreciate. So congratulations to them on their win, and commiserations to the worthy runners-up, Poznan and Network Rail. And I now hand over to the next person on the list, which I believe is Bridget.
No, Rebecca, actually.
It's Rebecca, I beg your
The
pardon.
Innovation Challenge.
Hand over to Rebecca for the Innovation Challenge.
Hello. So the Innovation Challenge, as Terry referred to, some of the challenges are more open than others, and this is a very open one. So it's quite simply to address what we're trying to address in the railway technical strategy. So we want to address the 4 C's. We want more customer satisfaction and more effective capacity, and we want it cheaper, less cost, and less carbon, less environmental impact. So of those 4 C's, we'd like people to innovate in the challenge, to come up with each team to decide what it is that they want to do and how they will scope that, develop it, test it, and demonstrate it, and then come up with their conclusions. And in some ways, it's the opposite of the design challenge, because you've got to be incredibly concise, because we're asking for this to be written up as a formal technical paper, such as one might produce for suitable for publication in an august journal, such as the institution supports. So as judges for the innovations part, we pose, as it were, of referees of technical papers, and we look for the contribution that is espoused to the 4 C's, one or more of them, and to the potential that this amazing innovation might actually be applicable to the industry. And we also look at how actually novel it is. Have they researched the ground space well enough to know that this is different? And also to look at the presentation and structure of how they put it over in technical paper terms. So now we can move to the reveal, Christina, for this challenge. On Innovations Challenge, our winner this year is HUDDRail, the University of Huddersfield team. And just to reassure folks that this is very different from last year in terms of this particular institution's team. They have risen up the ranks since last year's Innovation Challenge, and that when they were actually last year's teams were not as good as the Network Rail one or the Poznan teams in this particular challenge. So the 3 teams that we had today, there's been a reordering, and it was HUDDRail that had a very credible, very clear winner. And what they did here, as you see from the diagrams, they had a mechanical spring and a supercapacitor arrangement, which was to do hybrid energy recovery, which seemed very impressive. And they argued it very well. They made their case well, with good arguments and robust references that would stand up to this technical paper challenge. And I think I would suggest that they're challenging us back in the rail industry. Is this something that we will develop and actually deliver at scale? Maybe they can help us with that challenge next. Thanks to all the teams, and especially to the HUDDRail one.
Thanks very much, Rebecca, and congratulations, Huddersfield. So back now to Bill Reeve. Bill is going to announce the results from the Business Case Challenge.
Thank you, Simon. So the Business Case Challenge asks the teams to set out to persuade us why we, the judges, should be persuaded that if we were to buy a locomotive, it would be their locomotive. So they have to explain the technical features of that locomotive. They have to explain the innovation and environmental credentials of that locomotive. They have to persuade us that the costs of that locomotive and the whole approach to the business case is credible. And they have to do that in a joined up manner as a team, in a manner that impresses us. So we had 4 presentations this morning to enjoy, and I have to say the judges did enjoy all 4 of those presentations. One of the teams, the smallest of the teams, was unable this year to address every aspect of the exam question the business case presents. So in last place was the Lens team, but the judges have asked me to pass on how interested we were in the work that was presented. So that's using an innovative approach to the use of electromagnetism to address a real technical scourge of the railway, which is adhesion management, particularly during the leaf fall season, but adhesion generally. We will be following that work with great interest as a cadre of judges, and we very much hope to see your locomotive with the principle demonstrated in practice next year. In third place was the Huddersfield team, a very creditable and, as I'll reveal shortly, very, very close third, but the Huddersfield team secured 113 of the available points. Again, we were impressed with the teamwork in the presentation, with the clear evidence of role clarity presented by the team, and with the overall thoughtful approach to the design. We got a clear appreciation of how the locomotive worked in principle and what its innovative features were. What struck me in particular was the quality of work done in market research for the miniature locomotive market. I've never seen a team do that so well before, and the results were very interesting and were clearly evidenced in the business case presentation that we got. So 113 points to Huddersfield. I did say this was close. When we scored independently the marks for Network Rail and for Poznan, we were unable to distinguish overall between those two presentations. So we have a joint winner for the business case prize this year. Network Rail and Poznan get joint first. With the Poznan presentation, I think what comes through very clearly is the ambition of the design philosophy, the use of non-steel materials, the real commitment to environmentally sustainable characteristics, including lightweighting of the design and the elegance of the design overall. So thank you very much, Poznan. And for Network Rail, really competent presentation addressing all aspects of a well-balanced design philosophy. What I'd particularly like to draw attention to is that the design was started with a systematic approach to lessons learnt from the in-service issues of last year's locomotives that Network Rail presented. And for those of us responsible for the performance of railway networks today, designs based upon the reality and learning from experience often we find work best. So tremendous experience. Network Rail and Poznan, congratulations for being joint winners, but very well done to all the teams. That's it for the business case challenge, leaving just the issue of the marketing for the best technical poster next, and I'm to hand over to Bridget Eickhoff for that.
Thank you very much, Bill. The technical poster is designed to, in a single sheet, we had it at A4, but at Stapleford it would have been A0, to show an overview of the locomotive, the key features about it, communicate these to a non-technical audience. At Stapleford they're displayed so that the spectators can walk around and have a look at them. Now, some of the spectators are engineers, many of them are not. So, as in the other challenges, we had 3 extremely competent technical posters, and we judged them on 3 criteria: their technical content, the style of the presentation, the readability, those sorts of things, and the visual impact that the finished product provides. And as my colleagues have already said, it was very close. But not to beat about the bush, the final winner for the technical poster is the University of Huddersfield.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Bridget. Congratulations again to Huddersfield. We're just now going to go back to Bill Reeve to sum up on behalf of the judges. Bill.
Thank you. Just testing, you can still hear me. This year, there is no overall prize. The judges feel that engineering in the absence of reality is not always frightfully useful. And without being able to test these designs and production in real service, we didn't feel it was appropriate to have an overall prize. However, we have been struck by the consistency of the performance of one team in particular, and it's just appropriate to note that Huddersfield has won outright 3 of the 4 challenges and came tantalizingly close to doing so with the 4th. So I have been asked to give a special commendation to the Huddersfield team for that high quality and consistency of effort across the piece. So I think that's sufficient for ourselves, other than to echo what our president said earlier about how employable engineers who go through this process will prove to be. So it's my pleasure now to hand over to David, former chair of the Young Rail Professionals, for any comments or reflections he would wish to make at this point.
Hi all. As Bill kindly introduced, my name's David Westcoff, current National Treasurer of the Young Rail Professionals, and also a member on the committee of the Institution of Mechanical Engineers Railway Division Young Members Board. So I was a past participant in 2017 with SNC Lavalin, and I just think the Railway Challenge is just such a great initiative in the development of not only mechanical engineers, but engineers across the board, and people that see their future career going down the route of the railway. So on that, I hope you guys have enjoyed this year's challenge. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to do it in the manner that we'd have liked to do, but hopefully, I hope you've all found it a rewarding and worthwhile activity to have undertaken nonetheless. And beyond that, I'd just like to say, if you've enjoyed this, then please look up Young Rail Professionals and the IMechE Railway Division Young Members on Google. Have a look through both organisations' websites, because we've got a load of different development events. We've got speakers throughout the industry, just loads of good stuff to help young people such as yourselves get a boost up in their careers going into the railway. So very much encourage you guys to check out both those 2 organisations, get involved, and yeah, it would just help your careers so immensely as it has mine. So thank you for the opportunity to speak, Bill.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, David. Thanks for that. And yes, as you say, 2 excellent organisations there that I hope many of our participants will continue to participate in. Okay, we're going to move now to Rob Porter. Rob is the Head of Events and Member Engagement at the IMechE, and Rob is going to give a vote of thanks. Thank you, Rob. Rob, you're muted.
So I am. Apologies, everyone. So yes, as Simon said, I'm the Head of Events and Member Engagement at the IMechE, and it's been wonderful to watch this competition unfold and grow over the years, and it's been a really truly unusual year for everyone, hasn't it? But it's been marvellous to see the results today. So I'd like to thank you all for participating in the Dragon Setting competition and submitting your reports despite the challenging times that we find ourselves in. I'd like to also thank you say thank you to the industry partners for continuous support of this competition. You know who you are. It wouldn't be possible without your generosity, and that's in terms of time that you give, in-kind support, and also in many cases financial support. So thanks to the industry partners for that. For many years now, as we've heard, Railway Challenge has been providing a platform for new ideas to be turned into reality. It's been providing students, apprentices, and early career professionals with essential not just in engineering, but also in business, leadership, teamwork, the list goes on. What always comes out is that innovation is always key, and that's never been more true than it is now. Adaptability and flexibility, essentially unprecedented situations call for engineered solutions, and you've all demonstrated this. Well done indeed. The same can also be said of the organising committee and the judges team, and you've worked tirelessly with the IMechE team, Jelena and Christina, to pivot a physical event which would have taken place at Stapleford into a virtual competition which has taken place in our own homes. You've all given freely of your time to plan, adapt and execute this year's virtual event, and you've ensured that these teams have been able to make the most of this opportunity and compete for the 4 prizes that have been given out today. So thank you again from the IMechE.
Thank you very much, Rob. If I could just add my thanks really to the judges. I think the judges every year do a fantastic job under their head judge Bill and deputy head judge Malcolm, and also to the other members of the railway division who support the challenge and make it possible. There are scrutineers, of course, and operations people making it all work. Thank you very much to the IMechE, to the institution, for making this possible for us, and thank you very much, Terry, for spending your time and giving us your advice. Thanks also to Colin Brown, the chief executive of the IMechE. Colin's always been fantastically supportive of everything that we do, and to all the staff, Jelena, Christina, and the other people that help. I do want to also thank the railway. I know we're not there this year. We were there in February, as I mentioned. They're always fantastically supportive. The Friends of the Stapleford Miniature Railway, which is the place that we've held the event all the time that we run it, and we hope to continue to hold it there for many, many years into the future. The guys and girls there that are always helping the team in all different ways, when they're feeling down about the locos not working, when they suddenly need to make a part for something that's broken, even on one year stripping down their brand new lawnmower to find a component for a team that needed something. So fantastic support from those. Thank you very much to the teams. I think we've already thanked them. Congratulations to all the winners in the teams. Congratulations to every member of every team that took part in these challenging circumstances. And thank you to all the supporters within the teams, institutions and spectators, and to the audience of all the events. So thank you very much. Just remains for me to say, I hope that many of you will participate next year. Registration for the Railway Challenge 2021 will open on the 5th of October this year. Hopefully it'll all run smoothly and we'll be able to have our event. It's planned for the 24th to the 27th of June. Obviously that's provisional at the moment. There will be details on our website. I'm sure you can all find that. Please do join in. Thanks again to everybody and congratulations to the winner. Thank you very much.